that really fascinates me. I really want to know how to use those little proppers and get the best out of my water. Will you show that to me?
Great question, Katira. The reagent kit is actually used to calibrate and get the most out of the machine. Let me show you how this happens. This is the reagent kit. Let's learn how to use it. First, we'll open up the kit and see what's inside. You've got your dropper bottle full of reagent drops. There's a spare fuse inside, and you want to put that somewhere safe where you'll be able to find it if you should need to replace your fuse. And finally, we have a pH color chart. And I want to note right now that you'll never hit these colors exactly. It's just an approximation, and you want to get close to these colors. So let's look at them individually, starting with the acid side. This is a 4, represented by this test tube down here, which you'd want to use for cleaning your face, your hair, for external purposes. Moving up the scale to slightly acidic with a 6 on the pH scale would be this test tube, which is a yellow. Then to neutral on the pH scale. Most tap water will be somewhere in this range between these two, and that's a 7 on the pH scale. Now moving to the alkaline side, which is a number 8 and represented in this tube by a nice blue, and that's probably where you're going to want to start drinking the water. Let your body adjust slowly to the alkalinity. It may take a few days to a week. If you start at too high a pH level, you may experience mild detoxification symptoms, which actually shows that the machine in the water is doing its job as your body is flushing toxins. When you feel comfortable, you'll want to move from the blue color where you start to a light purple to try a higher level of alkalinity. Most people find that they're comfortable drinking the water between 8.5 and 9.5 on the pH scale. Although the machine is capable of producing higher levels of pH, upwards of 10 and higher, there's no reason to believe that the higher level is better for you. As a matter of fact, most people find that when they hit those higher levels of pH, the water actually tastes bad. So with the machine running and set on the alkaline level to achieve about an 8, and it's never perfect. It's always going to be in about a certain range, and I'll show you how to manipulate that in a minute. You fill your test tube up about halfway, take your reagent drops, put 3 or 4 drops in, doesn't really matter. Put your finger over the end, shake it up, and it will instantly turn the color of the corresponding level of alkalinity in the water. And there we have a nice blue, which is about, again, where you should start drinking the water. Okay, now let's move it up a little bit on the alkaline scale. Let's punch the alkaline button 2 times, moving it up to a 10, and let's test the water again. And here we should get a nice violet to a purple color. Put our 3 drops in, put the finger over the cover, shake it up, and there we have it, a nice solid violet to purple color. So now that we've got a good solid purple at an alkaline setting of about a 10, let me show you what manipulating the flow control knob will do to the alkalinity level. Right now you'll notice we have a nice, slow, easy flow out of the drinking water spout. By opening up the flow control knob to the fully on position, it opens the valve all the way, increasing the flow rate from the drinking water hose quite a bit. That means the water is processing through the machine much faster and receiving a lot less alkalinity. Now I've filled my test tube up about halfway. I'll put my 3 or 4 drops in, and I should have a very different color than the nice solid purple that we had. And that looks like a good kind of blue-green. So again, if I back this down now to a nice easy flow and test this water again, I should be back to a nice purple color. And so if you're having a trouble with the machine at one end or the other, you'll have to move the alkalinity buttons as well as the flow control knob, and now we're back to a good solid purple by slowing the flow down again. And there you have it. That's how you can use this flow control knob with the alkaline button to help fine-tune or optimize the performance of your machine.
Well, what's that exactly?
That's the calcium insert that you can use to increase the level of calcium in your water, and it's very simple to use and install. Let me show you how to do that. To add or replace calcium pellets to your machine, we'll have to access the back. At the top, you'll find the calcium port screw-on, screw-off cap. Sometimes it's hard to get off the first or second time, so just simply use a butter knife from your kitchen, insert the end, and gently pry it up until it pops free. Let's remove the old cartridge by twisting and pulling. Next, remove the very thin foil film off the new cartridge and install it in there nice and firmly, and reinstall it into the port by twisting until it's firmly seated. You replace the pellets every 30 days, and the pellets don't actually disappear in the cartridge. It's the coating on the pellets that release the calcium into the water.
I love tap water so much. Now how I'm going to travel with it or store it, any suggestion?
So there's no real magic in storing the water. There's just a couple of things you'll want to think about. You'll definitely want to avoid metal or stainless steel containers and the #1 PET containers like you'd buy bottled water in a convenience store. You can tell that it's a #1 PET bottle because there will be a #1 inside of a triangle on the bottom of the bottle. Avoid these. The acceptable containers are shown here. This is a Lexan container, which comes with a nice convenient carrying handle. You can purchase these in good health food stores. It's a hard plastic, much harder than the #1 PET. Generally says Lexan on it, and on the bottom we'll have a #7 inside the triangle. But best is glass, and this is just simply a 1 quart juice container from any store. And the best way to store the water is to fill it all the way to the top with no air contact, tightly closed, and then cooled in the refrigerator. If that's not possible, it's okay because the healthful values will last for quite a while. Ideally, the water will keep for about 2 days if it's filled this way in a glass container all the way to the top and kept in the refrigerator. But absolutely, the best way to drink the water is fresh out of the machine in a glass and just straight down. I just wanted to take a minute to summarize a few key points about optimizing and getting the most out of your ionizer. First, learn to use and master testing the water with the reagent kit. Test your tap water and then test the various setting levels on the machine because they'll all be different. Everybody's tap water is different around the country. Some areas are acidic, some areas are quite alkaline, and that will impact the level of alkalinity that you're able to achieve with the machine. Next, you want to always remember, in conjunction with the alkalinity button on the machine, to remember that the flow rate through the machine helps control the alkalinity as well. The faster the machine processes the water, the lower the alkalinity. The slower the machine processes the water, the higher the alkalinity. And finally, you'll want to start with the low pH and slowly, gradually ramp up to a higher. And then you'll settle somewhere in the alkaline range between blue and purple, and it's very different for everybody. Just remember to listen to the wisdom of your body. It'll tell you what it likes.